My name is Julie Ilondo Nguini. I'm the co-author of Meeting the Bonobo, Meeting the Okapi, and Meeting the Mountain Gorilla.
So tell us about the books. What is it that you write about?
Yes, so these are the books that I write about. So this is Meeting the Okapi, this is Meeting the Bonobo, and this is Meeting the Mountain Gorilla. So these are books, children books, and I co-author with Sylvie Munanga. Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your background and how it inspired you into writing.
Okay, I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist, so I studied journalism. I worked as a journalist. So I've always wanted to write. I always like writing. For me, writing is like expressing myself. I express myself better when I write. So what inspired me to write these three books is I just felt like these three species, the Okapi, the Bonobo, and the mountain gorillas, are not well known, especially to kids. And these, especially the Okapi and the Bonobos, in the wild are only found in Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And because of that, many people have not heard about them. And even if the mountain gorilla is found in Congo, in Uganda, and in Rwanda, it's a species that are endangered. The species is endangered. So I felt like it was a great occasion to talk to kids about these species that are endangered and in the wild can only be found in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So that was my motivation, because I feel like if we need to work on conservation, if we need to work on protecting these species, we need to start with kids. Kids must be aware that these species exist. They must know them first, and then they will grow up learning about conservation.
You know, when you talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's known more about music.
Yes.
So why not music? Why is it that you went into writing?
Interesting questions. It's because the Democratic Republic of Congo, as you say, is well known for his music, but it has so much to offer. You will be surprised. The Democratic Republic of Congo has the second largest forest in the world. We have the Congo Basin. It's in Congo. The 60% of the forest is in Congo. We have these species that you can only find in Congo, like the bonobo and the okapi. You have the mountain gorilla. You even have the Congo peafowl that you can only find in Congo. So you have so many species, and it has a very huge diversity. And I'm only talking about nature. We have the second lake island, the African lake island, the second biggest one. You found it in Congo. We call it the Idri Island. We have the most active lava lake volcano, the Nyiragongo. You found it in Congo. So the Congo has so much to offer and a very huge potential. So it's also a part of that collection. It's all about Congo, where we want to show to the world that it's not only music, it's not only cobalt, it's not only coltan, it's not only gold, it's not only diamond, but it's way beyond that. Yeah.
And then now, you know, in Congo, there is the war.
Yes.
Especially in the current situation.
Yes.
So what can artists and writers like yourself use your writing skills to bring about social change in the Congo?
First, we want to make people aware of what's happening in Congo, because, you know, when we speak about the species, for example, people are going to ask me, oh, so you telling us that the okapi is only found in the wild in Congo. Where is Congo? So we're basically presenting the Congo to those who don't know anything about the Congo. And we take that opportunity to talk about the Congo, to talk about the challenges that the country has, and also to make them aware of what's happening, of all the people who have lost their lives, you know, in the Congo because of the war, because of everything that is happening there. So it's a way of for us to raise awareness about the situation and to tell also people that we don't want our people to be killed there, and it has to stop.
So, in your opinion, do you think the Congolese artists have a certain weapon that they are not using to bring about change in the Congo? And if so, what would be your message to them?
I think artists, Congolese artists, are doing their very best to really talk about the situation. Because right now, when you go to the internet, for example, and you visit those pages by Congolese artists, I mean, almost everyone is talking about the situation. They paint about it, they have photographs about it, they have writings about it. So I think as artists, we all trying to convey one message. We want peace in Congo. We want the war to stop. We want the illegal exploitation of our mineral to stop. We want people from Congo to start enjoying their own land, because as I said, Congo has so much to offer. Yeah.
So now tell me about the challenges, as a writer. What are some of the challenges that you face?
As self-published writer, for example, the biggest challenge is the marketing, because you have to make your books known to the rest of the world, and marketing requires funding, and that's one of the challenges. But we usually don't sit there and start complaining about this challenging. We try to work around it and find a way to go through. So the word of mouth is what we used first, and that also worked well. And we're trying to break those challenges and try to move forward. And the second challenge sometimes is to get our books to Congo itself, because we're living here in the United States, and you know how expensive it is to take our products there in Congo. But there again, we try to work around it. We always find a way to bring our books over there. And the other challenge sometimes can be the taxation. Sometimes when you have to import a product over there, sometimes it's expensive. But with all the people over there who work with the artists, we always find a way to make our products known over there, and to teach our kids, and to make the books available in Congo too.
So how has being in the USA affected your writing?
I would say I took experience from other writers in the US. I have the impression that the book industry in the US is really alive. So what influenced me is I kind of took experience from other writers. How do they write? How do they touch kids? How do they talk to the kids so that their writing really have an impact on the kids? So that's how I got that influence, to talk to kids, because it's something that I didn't have even in my mind when I was growing up in Congo. Yes, I wanted to write, but it was more for adults. But when I got here, I really found that the children book have a very big part in the literature, and that's what influenced me.
Let us talk about aspiring writers. What would be your message to them? Somebody who maybe has a burning desire to write.
To let their minds talk. I think that's the first thing. To just let their minds talk. Whatever they have in mind, people out there need to hear it. So I will encourage them to just write, and everything regarding marketing and all the other steps about writing, they will be learning as they go. But first of all, when they have something in mind, to just start writing, even if it takes weeks, even if it takes months, they can just go ahead and write.
So now let us talk about today's event. What would be your comment about today's event?
I would really like people to come to our tables, to visit our table, and to learn about what we wrote about. Because I am sure, and I bet that most people who will come have not heard about the Okapi, have not heard about the bonobo. So it's going to be a great way for them to learn. Even if they are not kids, they are adults, but they will always have something to learn. about our books.
People who may be willing to sponsor such an event, people who may be willing to sponsor a writer like yourself, what would be your message to them?
My message for them will be, like, my biggest fight for now will be for African children in general and Congolese children in particular to have access to books. So if they can join us in the fight that we're doing to buy books so that these kids can have access to them, you know, because we do have people who buy, for example, 20 books, 30 books, and we take those books and we give them for free to these kids who don't have access to books. And while you're mentioning it, something came in my mind is like, many kids, for example, in Congo don't have that access to books because life is tough. And when a mom has, for example, $10 or $15, she won't buy books for her kids, she will buy food, which is normal. It's a survival issue. So if we can offer these books for free to these kids so that they have the same opportunity with the other kids to have access to the knowledge, that will be the greatest message I will share with the sponsors or people who want to sponsor kids in Congo or in Africa in general. I studied journalism in Congo, and then I went to Joburg and I did creative writing and multimedia. That's where I majored in Johannesburg. So writing for me is like, I would say life. I've always wanted to write since I was a kid. You know, comics, I would write comics, I would write poems, I would write books, novels, everything. But coming here, for me, in Africa especially, I feel like we don't really put so much energy when it comes to children literature. There's no many books talking to kids about their own environment. So many books that kids have in Africa are books coming from Europe or even from America, which is not bad. Don't take me wrong, it's not a bad thing. It's always good to learn even from other culture. But it's also a very good thing to read about your own environment, to read about what touches your heart, to read about your own culture. You know, and I always have the feeling that we don't have enough books that talk to kids about them, you know, and that's my fight right now. I'm like, I'm gonna write about it. I grew up in Kinshasa, so I know exactly how it feels for a kid growing up in Kinshasa. So it's easy for me to picture myself as that 8-year-old or 7-year-old and talk to that Congolese or African 7-year-old girl. So basically, I will be writing more books going forward for those kids, so they have books that talk to them about them.
You know, you're very right, because I don't know about Congo, but in Kenya when we were growing up, you know, our grandmothers used to tell us a lot of stories during the evenings.
Yeah.
But you know, because of the changes that are happening in the society, the young people of today don't have that opportunity.
Exactly. So and sometimes what I do is I hear stories, like you said, that we were told, and try to write, maybe change some other stuff, because you know, when people tell the same story, it's not the same story, and it has some editing done, so it's no longer the same story. So we're trying to kind of have those stories so that we can write them, and kids from generation and generation can hear all these stories. Yeah.
But then now talking about Congo, maybe this is my last question. Because you grew up speaking French, now you are here speaking English, writing English. So does it mean your books are also available in French?
Yes. I publish in English and I publish in French. Like these 2 books are in French too. I haven't printed this one in French. I only have the English version, but the French version is ready. So whenever we're ready, we're gonna publish the French version. My goal is also to publish them in local languages, like in Lingala and Swahili, because I even have the Swahili of the mountain gorilla. Why in Swahili and Lingala, for example, the local languages, is because I don't want the language to be a barrier. for these kids to have access to books. I'm gonna just tell you one story. In the east of the Congo, in Bukavu, I was working with one of the library for kids. So there were some kids who could not speak French properly. And when they would come to the library, there were only books in French. So these kids felt excluded. So I was wondering, if we had books in Swahili, they would have come, read with the other kids. So why that kid would feel excluded to the library because they don't understand French very well, and the only language they understand very well is Kiswahili, but we don't have books in Swahili. So we're trying to, and because you were talking to sponsors, yes, they can also sponsor books printed in local languages so that these kids have access to books in their own language. That's also very important.
Yes, sir, I appreciate your time.
No problem.
You need to tell people, those people who are interested in the books,
yes,
how they can be able to access them, how can they be able to get them.
Yeah, I have the books on Amazon here in the United States. I also have them in my own website. It's www.navyprojects.net. I also sell them over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a great interview.
In Swahili we say asante.
Asante, yes.